the nation's capital of the U.S. Mine from another nation's capital is even closer, Washington, D.C. And for you from Ottawa, we salute your good fortune. But Mary, why don't you introduce Bob? But we're here to celebrate an incredible story and a legacy that this man has inspired and sustained, and it's an honor to have you with us tonight, Bob.
Well, it's great to be here. It's an honor for me.
So, Mary, I want to make sure.
I don't think I probably need to introduce Bob. I think some of you, I hope, have had a chance to meet him tonight, and you certainly will tomorrow. But, you know, he put this together at your age, everybody's age who's in the room, to make college riding affordable and turn what we all know as an individual sport into a team sport. And I think everybody that's in the room tonight didn't realize how important that was going to become and the relationships they were going to build, and that you could find every jump in the ring, but if the never ever, as we refer to them, couldn't land their diagonal, you really couldn't have any success. And that sort of bridged a gap that none of us were used to until we turned about the age of 18, and it turned into that team sport that we have today. And I think that certainly for us coaches, I think has changed the whole game and made it just a lot more fun. It's not necessarily about a lot of money. It's about if you can get your get on and kind of make it happen for yourself. So I know Bob has a few things to say, but we want to thank him for his 50 years and all our jobs and all the successes we've had in the past and the future to come. And thanks for being here.
Thank you. Wow. President, thank you. Thank you, Mary. It's an honor to be here. It really is. Mary, thank you very much for the invitation. It is the 50th anniversary. I cannot believe it. I really can't. I'm awed by this. I do want to say a few things, if I may. All right? This actually, starting tomorrow, is the 14th region I will have been to this semester since the end of September. Okay? But Mary Judine says, that's okay. Let it go. All right? There is a 50th anniversary committee for the 50 years of IHSA, of which I'm not a member of. I'm allowed 5 minutes on the conference call, and then I have to get off. So they're kind of putting me in this direction to go there. And no one can make all the regions in the intercollegiate in 1 year, but I'm doing my best to make as many as I can. And what happened here was, in the middle of the summer, this lady texted me. And she said, Bob, our show is Sunday, tomorrow, this day in November. Dr. President Fox, Bill Fox, will be there, and so will you. Have a great summer. And that's Mary Drudy.
All right, Madam President.
As I was saying, kick him in the ribs.
Now,
I think I said that to Julia. And Caprio.
I have two quick stories to tell you about St. Lawrence. This is even before Mary was here and President Fox was here, okay? Marilyn Cobb was here, and every time a potential student and or family and student was going to visit the barn to see the facilities, either admissions or the president would call ahead. It's 5:30, 6 o'clock at the end of October, and up here, that means it's dark, okay? Marilyn is closing the lights. Everything is done for the day. She's rolling the big door closed, and she recognizes the lights of the car coming down the driveway as the school vehicle. So, under her breath, she's saying what she wants to say, and you can guess what that was. She puts the lights back on, rolls the big door open, and out comes Joan and Eleanor, and that's all they say. So Marilyn says, hello, hello, and she says, that's a stall, that's a horse, this is the indoor ring. Out of the corner of Eleanor's eye, the daughter, in the trophy case is the collegiate cup, the grand champion team. And she sees it and says, what is that? So Marilyn explains the intercollegiate, and we are grand champion team right now. And that was the end of the dialogue. They get back in the vehicle, they leave, she turns all the lights out and goes home and calls the president of the school and reads him the riot act. And the president says, we had to keep this under wraps. That was Eleanor and Joan Mondale. Fritz Mondale was vice president of the United States under Jimmy Carter at the time, and she came here because of that tour and rode in the intercollegiate. She was a legitimate novice rider. She went to nationals that year. It was in Middle Tennessee State University. And the White House called me up. They asked me all these questions because Mom and Dad wanted to come down for a day on the ranch. Right? And they actually did. They came down, I put him in touch with Ambrizicki, and 30 security guards and 20 German shepherds showed up, and we had a day at the ranch. And then that year was, I used to be with Cartier, the jewelers, at that time. We had breakfast at Cartier for the women of the Democratic Convention, and the Democratic Convention was in New York City then, and Joan Mondale was honored. We gave her a little donkey on a plaque for the Democratic Party, et cetera, et cetera. She thanks the president of Cartier and says, yeah, but where's my friend Bob Cacchione? And with that, I walked in the room. She leaves the president, comes over to me. For 1 hour, we're talking intercollegiate, horses, the national, Eleanor, Joan, and everything else, really. Well, 8 years ago, I was seeing someone that went to St. Lawrence University, Becky Morehouse Hall, and she moved to Virginia. And this school sends out invitations in pockets all around the country, wherever the alumni are living, and hosts different events. This particular event happened to be in the Senate House in Washington, D.C. And I mean, 3 tiers of security to get in, the whole 9 yards. It was amazing. And if I'm not mistaken, it was Senator Collins from Maine, who also went here, who set that up and was there. Well, the room was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, but it was like this. It was wall-to-wall people, because every single alumni and their significant others ended up going to this event. And I said to Becky, you know, we're here to see President Fox and Senator Collins. Let's make our way up front. And we did. We meandered somehow through there, and that was my first introduction to President Fox. And he asked me who I was and what I did and everything else, and then he asked me for the card when he heard about horseback riding and intercollegiate and everything else, and we talked about Mary Drudy. Now at that time, he didn't meet Mary. He was new here on campus. But he said, I'm going to make sure I call her this coming week. And apparently on that Monday, his office calls Mary Drudy and says, Mary Drudy, the president would like to meet you. And in that dialogue, Bob Cacchione's name was mentioned. And that was it. And the meeting was set up. Mary calls me and says, Bob, am I getting fired? What did you do? Am I right? And here, this meeting happened. And he's been a big supporter ever since. And thank you, President Fox, for that. Really, I really mean it. You know, you are now in 39 regions in the country. You have over 400 colleges. Actually, we have 412 colleges, including Canada. Thank you, thank you, okay? And we broke 10,000 riders this year. Congratulations. Really. And still growing. Ollie Griffith and others have asked how many riders have come through the IHSA since the inception. When I started this, it was a dream. I did something at the age of 17 for 2 reasons. I didn't care what your financial ability was, and I didn't care what your riding ability was. I wanted everybody to have the possibility of learning how to horseback ride with the possibility of maybe learning how to horse show. And you know what it is today because you're in it. It's you, it's yours. And I want to end by saying this, and some of the coaches have heard this because this happened just a few years ago, but I've been up to this region since then. So for the coach's sake, I'm sorry I'm repeating it, but for the rider's sake, I want you to hear it because I'm very proud of it, okay? Because I'm the face of the IHSA, but it's really the coaches and the riders, okay? A few years ago at the USHGA convention in front of 400 people, I got the President's Award. A month later, in front of another 400 people at the United States Equestrian Federation, the USEF, I got the USEF Equus Foundation Humanitarian Award and a $5,000 check, which went right into your scholarship foundation. I never saw that money. A few months later, I'm sorry, doctor, there are other colleges out there, okay? Centenary College, I'm sorry, at their graduation gave me a Doctor of Humane Letters.
We called it sucking up.
That's Kentucky.
And a month later, Pfizer and Company flew me to California, the American Publicists Association, and there are 1,000 members in that. All the writers of every horse publication in this country. They nominated 12 people for the Visionary Award. I was one of the 12, and I was the recipient of the Visionary Award, okay? What that tells me is the same thing it should tell you. The large governing bodies and horse organizations in this country have now recognized collegiate riding. Over the years, we have pioneered that. You are now riding that. Congratulations. I'm very proud to be here. Thank you for this reception.
Bob, it's
and congratulations.
Our cherished friends in Canada know one of the highest compliments in your country is the Queen's toast. Tonight, let's drink the health. Bob,
Here.
I just say thank you, congratulations.
Thank
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
Enjoy the evening.